everybody, my name is Francesca Leo and I'm the founder of playingwithoutpain.com, an interactive web resource committed to connecting musicians with other resources to treat and prevent performance-related injuries. I'm also currently the social media assistant and the program coordinator for the Art of Practicing Institute, and I'm a committee member on the National Flute Association Performance Healthcare Committee. Today I'll be teaching you some basic stretches and breathing exercises that you can do to reset your body, relieve tension, and stay active during practice breaks. For this short video, all you will need is a comfortable place to sit and your flute. So since we play an asymmetrical instrument, it's important to spend a little bit of time each day in a counter stretch. So to begin, I'm going to have you start by analyzing which muscle groups are engaged when you're holding your flute, and I'm going to have you pick up your flute and put it into playing position and put it down a few times. So close your eyes while you're doing this. You can move slowly if you need to. And really just notice which muscle groups you're feeling engaged when you hold up your flute. So as you may have noticed when we spent some time putting our flutes into playing position, our shoulders are always engaged and almost always working the hardest as we're playing the flute. So we're used to a forward rotation of the shoulders, and some of us may have a slight tendency to bend our necks to the right when we're playing. I know that is something that I am working on actively. So a great counter stretch is to hang your arms by your sides and gently let the weight of your head move to your left until you feel a slight stretch in the right side of your neck. And just let your head hang here. You may also feel this stretch in the forearms and fingers. You can also let your left hand come up and gently rest on the top of your head. Or you can focus on pointing your nose down to your armpit for a little bit more of a stretch here. And you should be feeling this along the back of your neck and also near the base of your skull. We'll hold this for about 20 seconds. And don't forget to keep breathing here. Okay, now slowly take your head up and come back to center. So we're going to do that same stretch on the right side now. So keep your arms hanging at your sides and slowly let the weight of your head guide to your right. The sensation between the two sides may be different each day. Today for me, I am feeling a little bit more of a stretch on this side, so I am going to personally stay a little bit longer here. So I'm really feeling it in my forearm this time and my hand. Another modification is to gently take your right hand up and rest it, but don't push or force. Or you can have your nose point towards your armpit again for a little bit more of a stretch. We'll hold this for another 20 seconds. And don't forget to breathe. Okay, now we will slowly come back up to the center. And you might want to shrug your shoulders up and down a little bit. Okay, so now I want you to all put your flute in a safe spot because we will be standing up. So now I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of how to stand more properly and how to balance your weight evenly between the ball of your foot and your heel. And this will help with your playing if you play standing frequently. And I will also be demonstrating a forward fold stretch that you can do before, after, and during your practice sessions to relieve some tension. Okay, so as you can see, I've slightly changed locations just to give myself a little bit more space. But right now we will be in a standing position and have your feet hips width apart. So if you are not familiar with yoga terms, this is one of them, and it is very self-explanatory. So if you just look straight down at your hips, your feet should be right below each of them. And some people like to explain it as having two fists together, and that is the distance apart that your feet should be, ideally. So just take some time and move back and forth here, just really getting your grounding. And what I've learned recently through my body mapping lessons is that a lot of us have a tendency to stand incorrectly and distribute the weight either too much on our heels, which puts pressure on our spine, or slouch forward, which puts too much pressure on the balls of our feet. So I'm going to have you just keep moving, keep grounding a little bit, and keep breathing. And first, we're going to notice the sensation of our toes on the ground. So I want you to close your eyes and take a couple deep breaths. And slowly lift all of your toes, all 10 of your toes, off of the ground. And now we're going to have each toe come back to the ground one by one until they are all down. You can do this a couple times just to get used to the sensation. But now that you are aware of how your toes interact with the floor, I'm going to have you sway forward and back a couple times to feel the sensation of how it feels when your weight is distributed more forward and when your weight is distributed more backwards. So do that a couple times. For me, I tend to distribute the majority of my weight on my heels. So as we're observing and analyzing ourselves in this movement, I'm going to have you slowly make the movements smaller, your weight distributing from the ball of your foot to your heel, until you feel an equal balance between the ball of your foot and the heel of your foot in both feet. So wherever you land, this is a proper balanced position. So try this exercise before you start practicing as well, and it might help you. So take a couple deep breaths here and notice if you feel a little bit more free and a little bit more grounded. So now I'm going to demonstrate a forward fold to you. So again, if you're not familiar with yoga, this is something that is commonly used in that practice. So we're going to start by taking a deep breath and leading with our noses. And we're going to slowly bring our noses down to the ground. Obviously, they don't need to reach the ground if you can't reach the ground, because I don't know many people who can. So just go as far as you feel comfortable and you feel a good stretch. You should feel this in your mid back, your lower back, your upper back. Just let your arms dangle. You can sway from side to side. And I'm going to come up so I can just demonstrate. So you can sway from side to side. You can hold opposing elbows and just let your weight fall in your upper body. We're going to hold this for, let's do 15 seconds. Don't be afraid. You definitely bend your knees in this pose, and don't be afraid to swing slowly from side to side. Just really feel the tension releasing. Don't forget to keep breathing. Okay, now to come up, we're going to come up very slowly, stacking one vertebrae at a time, and having your head come up last. Okay, so hopefully you all feel a little bit more grounded now, and feel free to comment on if that helped you or not. This is a stretch that I love to do during my practice sessions, so I'm really hoping that it's helpful. So the final stretch that I'm going to teach you is arm circles. And this is very important because we spend so much time in a static position while we play our instruments for hours and hours on end. So it's really important to get our larger muscles engaged and moving. So now that we are still feeling our grounded self that we have practiced by focusing on our standing work, I'm going to have you slowly move your arms in a circular motion forward. We're going to do this 10 times. Be careful not to arch your back. And it is normal if you feel a little bit of crunching. I know I do, this motion. And breathe deeply. I lost count, but we should be doing about 10 of these, and I think we have reached that. So now we're going to go in the opposite direction. And this will help return some blood flow to your arm. And also, like I said, engage the larger muscles, which are so important to move since we spend so much time in one position. This might feel difficult at first. That's totally normal. And when you're finished, just spend some time shaking your shoulders up and down, shaking your arms out. And you should notice a difference here too. You should feel a little bit more free. So hopefully that is helpful, and these are all things that you can do during practice breaks, before you start practicing, and after you start practicing as well.